I
Yep.
don't care. I don't care if you my mama, my sister, my twin, Jesus. It don't matter.
Yeah.
I ain't spending 2 seconds on that junk. And I love you and I mean it. I wish the best for you. I hope you find all the happiness in your life. But everybody at this house, them 2 kids and that woman upstairs that I'm responsible for, we not plugging into that. I don't care what it is.
Nope. We're not plugging, we're not pouring, we're not entertaining, we're not doing any of that. And what people need to understand is it's not our responsibility to nurture your triggers.
The live stream started like any regular Friday night vibe, but within minutes, everything shifted into something nobody expected. In one corner of the screen sat Towanda Braxton, calm-faced, chin lifted, acting as though the entire weight of the universe rested gently on her shoulders. Beside her sat her husband, Shawn, leaning forward with that air of a man who thinks he has all the wisdom, all the answers, all the spiritual authority to correct the world. And the moment the chat started asking about Tamar Braxton, the energy in the room changed like lightning hitting a tree. At first, Shawn tried to pretend he wasn't bothered. He inhaled deeply, exhaled like a meditation instructor and said, "Please, I don't have time for any gossip. We don't entertain low vibrations here." But then, slowly, almost intentionally, he drifted right into the gossip he claimed to rise above. "We're not connecting to anything negative," he began, eyes narrowing. "Some people bring chaos, confusion, heaviness. And when a person's frequency is off, you have to disconnect." He didn't say Tamar's name yet. He didn't have to. Everybody watching already knew who he meant. Then Towanda leaned forward, shaking her head with the calm arrogance of someone who thinks they've been spiritually chosen, and said, "We don't vibrate with certain spirits anymore. If someone can't rise up, they have to vibrate out." Boom. That was the moment. The moment the chat froze. The moment people started screen recording. The moment the firestorm began, because even without naming her, they were clearly talking about Tamar Braxton. And then Shawn went further. "Some people, they bring wicked energy, dark energy, and we're not nurturing that anymore. Not in our home, not in our phones, not in our space." There it was. Wicked energy, dark spirit, all aimed at Tamar. This wasn't just shade. This was a full-blown spiritual assassination being carried out live. But what made viewers' jaws drop wasn't the words themselves. It was the hypocrisy behind them, because as Shawn lectured about peace, positivity, and boundaries, comments began pouring and reminding everyone of what had happened in the past. Towanda using Tamar's credit card for years. Towanda taking money for a house down payment and never returning it. Towanda listing Tamar as a creditor in her bankruptcy. Towanda borrowing thousands and acting like it was a gift, and yet here, they were calling Tamar the wicked spirit. The irony was choking. Meanwhile, Shawn continued preaching like a pastor who just discovered new therapy language. "The faces fade away," he said. "Blood relation doesn't matter. Friends don't matter. Childhood memories don't matter. Only frequency matters." Towanda nodded beside him, agreeing with every word as if they were both floating on a cloud of enlightenment. While simultaneously dragging Tamar through spiritual mud, she added softly, "We're not responsible for nurturing someone else's triggers. That's not our job." She tried to sound healed, elevated, mature, but the audience wasn't buying it. Because how can you talk about peace when you've been accused repeatedly of financial betrayal? How can you preach healing when you've been documented using someone's credit cards for years? How can you claim vibration when your actions scream manipulation? The chat started turning fast. People typed things like, "Then pay Tamar back." "Where was this energy when you were borrowing her money?" "She wicked, but her credit card works for you?" "Y'all preaching spirituality but acting messy." People saw through it. People remembered, and the part that left viewers stunned was how much Shawn talked. This wasn't even his fight. He married into the Braxtons. He didn't grow up in the trauma, the arguments, the childhood wounds, the brokenness that Tamar openly spoke about for years. Yet he spoke as if he had a lifetime degree in Braxton drama. He said things like, "I love everybody. I wish nothing but joy. But if you're bringing darkness to my family, you gotta go." Darkness, again, that word kept coming back. But the most hypocritical moment came when Shawn looked straight into the camera and said, "I'm not entertaining negativity. I'm not gossiping. I'm not calling people out their name right after calling someone wicked, dark, low vibration, and unacceptable." The entire comment section exploded with laughter emojis and boy STFU comments. Then Towanda chimed in again, pretending this was all about spiritual health, not decades of jealousy, resentment, and financial tension. She spoke about being exhausted by certain behaviors. She didn't say which behaviors, but once again, everybody knew exactly who she meant. But then, The receipts came back to haunt her in real time. Thousands of viewers remember the scene where Tamar confronted Towanda about the house down payment. "You told me you would give me the money back. The next thing I got was a bankruptcy notice." That moment, that real footage, echoes louder than any frequency talk. So how is Tamar the wicked one? How is Tamar the exhausting one? How is Tamar the toxic spirit? When every documented financial betrayal points back to Towanda, this life wasn't spiritual. It wasn't healing. It wasn't enlightened. It was a coordinated attack, wrapped in fake positivity, delivered through therapy, vocabulary, and spiritual gaslighting. And the saddest part? It proved exactly what Tamar has been saying for decades. No matter what I do, they will always make me the villain. The fallout from that live didn't take long. Within minutes of Towanda and Shawn ending their broadcast, clips started spreading across X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Fans were stitching it, doing it, pausing it, zooming in, breaking it down frame by frame. And almost all of them share the same reaction. Why are Towanda and her husband doing all this? For the internet? Because the truth is, if the intention was peace, they would have gone silent. If the intention was frequency, they wouldn't have pressed the go live button. If the intention was healing, they would have stayed offline entirely. But they didn't. They spoke. They preached. They shaded. They accused. They spiritually insulted someone they called family. And that's why fans felt the entire performance was calculated. As the video spread, more people began revisiting clips from the Braxton family's past. Old show scenes resurfaced. Moments where Tamar cried about not being heard, not being valued, not being protected. Moments where she was gaslighted into believing she was too much, too emotional, too dramatic. When in reality, she was often reacting to being ignored, dismissed, or used. One of the most shared clips was the infamous moment when Tamar confronted Towanda. "You said you would pay me back the next day." The way Towanda smirked, the way she said it was a gift, the way she acted like she had never begged for that money. People saw it. People remembered it. So when Towanda sat beside Shawn and labeled Tamar as the problem, fans felt like they were watching a bad rerun of a movie they already knew the ending to. Because the truth is, trauma doesn't disappear just because someone starts using terms like energy, vibration, and frequency. You can sage the house 1,000 times, but it won't clear the room if the guilt, grudges, and buried resentment are still sitting there on the couch. And that's exactly what the internet started calling out. Isn't Towanda the same sister who wasn't paying back loans, but calling Tamar toxic? She vibrates high but keeps Tamar's money low? Shawn needs to stay out of it. This is not his childhood trauma. People dragged him the most. Because Shawn wasn't just commenting. He was leading the conversation, preaching loudest, talking longest, framing himself as a sage, the prophet, the boundary master. Yet he never addressed the real elephant in the room. Why is his wife still holding onto money and credit situations that weren't hers to take? And more importantly, why did he publicly humiliate his wife's sister? Especially when he never grew up with these women. Even fans who don't always agree with Tamar felt the discomfort because the way Shawn kept calling Tamar's behavior unacceptable, draining, dark, low vibration, and not worthy of their space, felt personal in a way that crossed emotional boundaries. It didn't sound like a concerned brother-in-law. It sounded like a man taking sides in a war he doesn't fully understand, and adding gasoline to a decades-old fire. But the most chilling part of that live wasn't the shade. It wasn't even the evil spirit comments. It was the tone. It wasn't even the evil spirit comments. It was the tone. The calm, rehearsed, spiritual superiority. The soft voices covering sharp attacks. The love and light masking judgment and resentment. It is a classic form of spiritual gaslighting, using growth, peace, frequency, and higher vibration as weapons to invalidate someone's humanity and history. Towanda's line, "If you can't vibrate up, then you must vibrate out," felt less like a boundary and more like a door slamming shut, and it stung because for years, viewers watched Tamar fight to be included, to be heard, to be loved. She wasn't perfect, no one is, but she was honest, transparent, raw, emotional, hurt, and more importantly, she was carrying trauma from childhood that was never addressed. So when Towanda and Shawn sat there dismissing all of that as negative energy, people felt the coldness behind the smile. One viewer wrote, "If Tamar has triggers, who put them there? Who fed them?" Another wrote, "You can't demand healing from someone you've harmed." And then there were the financial receipts. Those stirred the pot the most. The bankruptcy, the unpaid loans, the credit card bills, the multiple lines being charged for years, the down payment money borrowed but never returned. Once those clips resurfaced, the narrative shifted dramatically. What started as Tamar is wicked became Towanda has been using Tamar. financially while calling her toxic. What started as we want peace became why. Did you talk about her publicly if you're healed? What started as we're above gossip became you literally got on live to gossip. And then came the jealousy conversations for years. Fans suspected Towanda struggled with Tamar's fame, success, spotlight, and voice. She was the quiet sister, the calm one, the one people often forget in the lineup. So hearing her call Tamar too much and too exhausting added fuel to the theory that the resentment runs deep. In the comments, one person summed it up perfectly. Towanda doesn't want Tamar around, except when she needs her money, and sadly, that sentiment echoed across the entire internet. By the end of the night, viewers weren't talking about low frequencies, they weren't talking about dark spirits, they weren't talking about vibrating higher, they were talking about the truth. Sometimes the loudest spiritual talkers are hiding the darkest actions. Sometimes the preachers are the biggest offenders. Sometimes the family scapegoat is the only one telling the truth. And in this story, Tamar didn't even have to respond. The internet responded for her.